Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Ramo Rajamani Sada Vijayati Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Bihata Nishacharachamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Ramannasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhavatu Me Bho Rama Mamuddhara Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vitvaram Satgurum Brahma Vitvaram. Om Shri Chinmaya Satgurave Namaha. 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 24th through 28th verse, 13th chapter. Dhyanenatmani pashyanti kechidatmanamaatmana अन्ये सांख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे अन्ये त्वेवमजानन्तः श्रुत्वान्येभ्य उपासते तेऽपि चातितरन्त्येव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणाः यावत् सञ्जायते किञ्चित् सत्त्वं स्थावरजङ्गमम् क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञसंयोगात् तद्विद्धि भरतर्षभ समं सर्वेषु भूतेषु तिष्ठन्तं परमेश्वरं विनश्यत्स्व विनश्यन्तं यः पश्यति स पश्यति समं पश्यन् हि सर्वत्र समवस्थितमीश्वरम् न हि नस्त्यात्मनात्मानं ततो याति परां गतिम्. 26th verse we had seen. Bhagavan is telling Arjuna that whatever objects are seen in this creation, in fact this creation itself is a combination of Prakruti and Purusha. Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam sthavara jangamam. Sattvam means any existent entity. Either it is sthavara, unmoving, or jangamam, which is moving. Know this to be combination of kshetra and kshetrajna. So what is the other word for kshetra? Prakruti. Same topic has been given in different terminology, and another name for kshetrajna is Purusha. So kshetra and kshetrajna, Prakruti and Purusha coming together gives rise to this creation. Tadvidhi Bharatarshapha. Now we had discussed it in the last class. It's a joint venture. Both of them are contributing something, and together the outcome is possible. So what is Purusha contributing to creation? Sat, Chit. Existence and ability to illumine, ability to know. What is Prakriti contributing to creation? vikara, modification aspect. Now, the most important quality, why we need Prakriti, what are we doing in the midst of Prakriti, is to be happy. If you look at Prakriti and Purusha, to whom does happiness belong to? It belongs to Purusha. So any ananda which is seen in creation doesn't belong to Prakriti. Ananda is nature of Purusha. The reflection of that Ananda alone is seen in the mind which belongs to Prakriti. That is why if you note in 7th chapter, when Bhagavan Krishna elaborated Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti, lower Prakriti and higher Prakriti. Apara is lower, Para is higher. And Shankaracharya ji in his Bhashya said, this lower Prakriti is bandhanatmika. It will put us in greater bondage. Nikrushta, it is inferior. Tasmat heya. Therefore, it should be given up. So how should you understand that statement? That if I only go after lower Prakriti, material world, seeking for happiness, that will put us in greater bondage. If I understand happiness is nature of Purusha, which is me myself, so then you can play with Prakriti. Play with Prakriti means not get bound by Prakriti. But if my source of Ananda becomes Prakriti, I am searching for something somewhere where it is not. Ananda was in Purusha and I ended up searching in Prakriti. You must have heard that famous story of an old lady searching for a needle. She's searching under the light while the needle was lost in her hut. And somebody asks her, why are you searching here? He says, because there is light. So because there is light, no matter how much you search, you will not find it there. It's a classic Vedantic example for where are we searching Ananda. So Ananda is nature of Purusha, not Prakriti. Now, if this is the case, that this whole creation is a combination of Prakriti and Purusha, and I understand that this Prakriti can either delude me or lead me to liberation. That's why they say Prakriti has two purposes. One is bhoga, another is apavarga. Bhoga means bondage, more indulgence, and apavarga means freedom. Pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. Pavarga, 5 letters are there. So with every letter, there is one bondage given. So apavarga means freedom from these 5 types of bondage. That is why it is called as moksha. So Prakriti can give bhoga and make us get caught up or lead us towards moksha. Now, if this is the case, Prakriti and Purusha have come together, what kind of union is it between them? This point is very important to note if we are students of Advaita Vedanta. One kind of union is Avayava Samshlesha. Avayava Samslesha, Sambandha. Means one part of one entity comes in contact with another part of second entity. What were some examples we saw? Shaking hands. So two people shaking hands is Avayava Samslesha. Cup kept on a saucer, on a plate. So the union between cup and the plate is avayava samslesha. Only one part of entity 1 is connecting with one part of entity 2. Or if you have a pot and you are tying a rope around it to lower it into the well, olden days they used to put that pitcher into the well. That is avayava samslesha. Second type of sambandha is samavaya sambandha. Samavaya sambandha is two entities are connected where the second one depends upon the first one, like the thread and the cloth. Thread and cloth is unlike two people shaking hands. So the cloth depends upon the thread. That relationship between thread and cloth is called samavaya. Now, thing to note here is cloth is considered as an independent entity. Vedanta will not say cloth is independent. It will say thread alone is appearing as cloth. But in this kind of sambandha, in other school of thought, they say second entity is independent. Then comes third type of sambandha, which is adhyasa sambandha. Adhyasa means one alone is appearing as something else, and there seems to be a relationship between the two. So rope alone appears as snake, and it appears as though snake is related with the rope. Now this point, if you apply to Prakriti and Purusha, it opens up something deeper. So when we say Purusha and Prakriti, Purusha is in the place of rope, and Prakriti is in the place of illusory snake. So Prakriti by itself doesn't have its own existence, independent existence. So Prakriti has emerged from Purusha. That's why in every Vedantic text, creation process will be described. This entire Prakriti that we see, it is Anadi, no doubt. But there is a sequence of emergence from Purusha. Or you can take it in this way. Prakriti depends upon Purusha for its existence. Otherwise, what will happen is both are independent entities. And when you say they come together, you will either take option 1 or option 2. Avayava samslesha or samavaya. And Vedanta wants to tell us Prakriti and Purusha are connected through adhyasa. An entity which is not there appears to be there. And after appearing, it comes to as though get mixed up with the original. So in this way, we should think. See, yesterday we read Adhyasa Bhashya. Shankaracharya was trying to explain this point in several ways. True liberation is when a person realizes, I never was bound. True liberation is when a sadhaka understands, I never needed liberation. It's a very interesting technique of teaching. If you read Viveka Chudamani, first few verses are only based on how important it is to appreciate bondage. But the end journey in this Vedantic teaching is, you are never bound. Means apply it to the rope snake example. How should the rope understand its liberation? That I was never bound by the illusory snake. If any action is involved in freedom, according to Advaita Vedanta, it is not freedom. If the rope feels I needed to do something to be free from that illusory snake, that is not clarity of knowledge for that rope. So here also, when they discuss type of sambandha, it is to fine-tune our effort. Abide in the self, and from the standpoint of the self, look at Prakriti. Prakriti will appear to be mithya. And mithya vastu, if it is coming to bind me, it is only because of adhyasa. Erroneously, two things are getting mixed up. This thought process is very, very difficult if we are seated in ahankara. If we are seated in jiva and we try to push away this notion that I am bound, that will not work. First, sit in Atma. Let the mind abide in the self. From the standpoint of self, look at Anatma. And this switch will happen in Shravanam itself for an Uttamadhikari. Dissociation from conditioning, right in Shravanam, can happen. If it doesn't happen, then a next step is needed. Why am I still sitting in Ahankara? We need more mananam. Getting more clarity on how we are not body and mind. Then after that, still if conviction has not come, then the next step becomes even more important, Nididhyasanam. In Nididhyasanam, we are just trying to understand how this bondage is due to adhyasa. As the self, mind is an appearance, world is an appearance, it cannot come to bind the self. Then 27th verse, Bhagavan said, Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatsu avinashyantam yaf pashyati sapashyati. What is the right vision in life? We see different things in this world, recognizing that samatattva, that truth which is present in each and every being. If we are able to recognize it, see it, and live our life according to it, that vision. Bhagavan said, this is the right vision. To see manyness, there is nothing great. Our eyes will report manyness. But to see underlying truth amidst that manyness, that is called Samadrishti, Samyak Drishti. Samyak means what? Right. So Samadrishti is Samyak Drishti. Vinashyatsu avinashyantam, amidst the perishable, recognizing the imperishable. One who sees this, that person sees it. You know, in music, tabla, they have something called as sam. Hindustani music, sam means the first beat of your rhythmic cycle. So you can do whatever you want in between. After you show your tabla prowess, you have to come back to that sam. As long as you are on the sam, everything is good. If you showed lot of variety but missed your sam, that means there is some more work to be done. So Swami Akhandanandji, he says, just like in tabla you have sam, in life we have sama. Sama means this vision of truth. If we see pillar as pillar, tree as tree, mountain as mountain, that is Vishama Drishti. Samadrishti is that one truth alone, appearing as tree, appearing as mountain, appearing as pillar. That is Samadrishti. Then 28th verse, Bhagavan said, when we get this Samadrishti, life becomes purposeful. The supremost purpose of human birth is to gain this Samadrishti. Now 29th verse, Bhagavan addresses one point which bothers many Vedanta sadhakas. Right from the time they start studying Vedanta, repeatedly they are told, remember, you are not the doer. Remember, you are not the experiencer. If a person gets it, well and good. If he doesn't get it, he gets frustrated. So many things I am doing, and you are telling me I am not the doer. Okay, for the time being, let me accept your statement. Please tell me then, who is the doer? Please tell me, who is doing these actions? If I am not doing it, who is doing it? You see what he says, 29th verse. Prakrutyaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashah yah pashyati tathatmanam akarataram sa pashyati. Prakrutyaiva cha karmani kriyamaणानि sarvashah yah pashyati tathatmanam akarataram sa pashyati. Whenever we say jiva, jivatva, finitude, the identity of a jiva is twofold. One is I am karta, another is I am bhokta. If you look at our life, it is summarized in only these two things. Either we are doing something or we are experiencing something. While doing things, what is the notion that we get? I am the doer. And while experience is coming our way, the understanding or the feeling we have is I am the experiencer. So this kartrutva and bhoktrutva is the introduction, definition of a jiva. One who thinks these two to be real, his absolute identity. I am doing something, I am experiencing something. That is called as jivatva. See, sometimes we replace the word experiencer with enjoyer. But unless we understand it correctly, we feel enjoying means enjoying good things. But when we say bhokta, even seeing this world, perception of this world is bhoga. Hearing sound is bhoga. And what is Vedanta telling us? You are not bhokta. I say, I am hearing the sound. I am seeing the world. Now this is where Bhagavan says our understanding of Prakriti and Purusha will help us precisely understand what is Vedanta trying to tell us. You see what the verse says. Prakrutyeva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashah. Whatever actions are being done, they are all done by Prakriti. Now, Bhagavan Krishna will say, it has been a long time since we studied definition of Prakriti, but still broadly we know what is Prakriti. He will give us a list. You tell me whether yes or no, whether it falls under Prakriti or not. Refresher. World of objects, names and forms, Prakriti. This body, Prakriti. Sense organs, hands, eyes, ears, Prakriti. Mind, Prakriti. Ahankara, Prakriti. And consciousness, Purusha. Consciousness is not Prakriti. Consciousness, Purusha, is the enlivener of Prakriti. Prakriti is inert, it cannot move. So if any action has to take place, one who makes that action possible is Purusha. Now let us take a simple action. What are we trying to understand? Who is doing this action? Don't pay attention to what is the action. Point is, who is doing it? Let us take simple action of, but first of all, you have to sign this declaration. All these things belong to Prakriti, whatever you agreed. You cannot change it later. Let us take simple action of writing a letter. Writing a letter. If somebody asks us, and you wrote a letter, very nice letter. Somebody asks, who wrote this letter? What will we say? I wrote this letter. The flow of words, the type of constructs that were used, similes, metaphors, I wrote it. Bhagavan Krishna will say, let us sit down and have a discussion. To write a letter, what was needed first? Start from the external thing. Paper. Paper, where does it belong to? Prakriti. The instrument to write, the pen, Prakriti. The one who is holding that pen, body, Prakriti. Eyes which are seeing that letter, Prakriti. Mind which is telling me what to write, Prakriti. And the one who is coordinating this whole effort, Ahankara. No, Purusha is not in the scene yet. See, really speaking, all of them are different entities. Hand is somewhere, eyes are somewhere, mind is there. The one who puts everything together is Ahankara. One who has I notion in all these things is Ahankara. Now this much, if you are able to appreciate, we will get the meaning of the first line, Prakrutyeva cha karmani. What is Purusha doing? Really speaking, Purusha is not doing anything. Purusha just lends existence and sentiency to all these conditionings. So if a person is able to appreciate this in the midst of all actions, his doership will take a hit in a good way. Whoever is doing that action, I'll be able to say that person is doing it. Whoever is doing that action, that conditioning will be able to say that Prakriti is doing it, not me. Now to say this statement, what should be my understanding of I? Prakriti or Purusha? Purusha. If I am seated in Ahankara, then erroneously I have placed myself in Prakriti. That is why for a person who doesn't know the self, has not heard about the self, if you tell to that person you are Akarta, he'll be angry. But for a sadhaka, this becomes our way to freedom. that action which doesn't belong to you, you need not take it. If you take it by giving reality, what does that imply? I will have to become bhokta. If I do an action by giving reality to my doership, I will have to become the experiencer. And this bondage is sufficient to push us into rebirth. So those actions which are yet to give results in future births, those actions are waiting to give result. And if we protect our doership, we cannot erase our enjoyership. In other words, strong doership is a bondage that we have chosen to be in for Punarjanma. Both of them go together, Kartrutva and Bhoktrutva. I cannot say I want one, but not the other. So this statement looks like a very simple statement, that everything is done by Prakriti. But the implication of this is multifold. So in simple things, what we do at home, we should try to cultivate this bhavana. If you are washing the dishes, this thought should be there. Prakriti is doing its own actions. I am witnessing this action of Prakriti. But one thing to note here, when we say Prakriti is doing the actions, if a person does some incorrect action, he cannot say, I don't want the result. Means if I park in the wrong place and the cop comes to give me a ticket, I say, I never did this action. It was Prakriti who did this action. Cop will say, I have also studied Vedanta. I am not giving ticket to Purusha. I am giving ticket to Prakriti only. Note this carefully. Ahankara, who is responsible for that action, belongs to Prakriti. So when we say Purusha doesn't do any action, Prakriti only does actions. So Purusha will not guide Prakriti on what action to do. Purusha will not guide Prakriti on whether to do good action or bad action. Who will guide body and mind? Ahankara. If you notice this carefully, we will realize our whole transactional life runs on the strength of dharma. And for whom is dharma? For Purusha or Ahankara? For Ahankara. So what I should do, what I should not do. How much I should do, how much I should not do. How much I should do and to what point I should draw a line and not cross that line. This is called as Sattvika Buddhi, 18th chapter. Pravritti Nivritti, Karya Akarya. That is not dharma of Atma, that is dharma of Buddhi. So that is also a point to note, that when we say Prakriti does all actions, one who guides that Prakriti is intellect, which also belongs to Prakriti. So Prakriti is independent in managing itself. All it needs from Purusha is existence. All it needs from Purusha is sentiency. The reason I raised this point is, see, many a times we are told, become a witness of your actions. We should remember it's an advanced sadhana. I can become a witness only of my good actions. Or you can say, I can become a witness of my actions only when my actions are good. That is why the step before this understanding is Karma Yoga. What are we trying to erase over here? Kartrutva and Bhoktrutva. Doership and enjoyership. Before we say, I am not Karta, I am not Bhokta, what are we told? Let Kartrutva be there. Become a Karana. Become an instrument of Bhagavan. And make sure that we do good actions. There should not be any knowing mistake in our actions. And when it comes to Bhoga, what are we told? Accept it as prasada. Don't have choices in what experience I want. Every experience is prasada of the Lord. Now, with this combination of mellowed kartrutva and prasada buddhi in bhoktrutva, slowly a person's life becomes such that he can come to just observe his actions. If actions are erroneous, this verse will not be applicable. After purifying our actions and mind, we can say, shift to that Purusha who is an mere witness of the actions. Means if actions are erroneous, to understand this knowledge itself is impossible. So don't apply the meaning literally. Okay, it's a staged process. First Karma Yoga, then Akartrutva. Yaha pashyati tathatmanam akartaram saha pashyati. One who sees the self in this way as akarta, that person sees it. You know, these verses, when you read, one might get a question. How does this knowledge actually translate in our life? The person who is able to see himself as akarta, abhokta, how does he live in this world? Which part of Bhagavad Gita should we refer whenever we get these questions? Sthita Prajna Lakshana. What we saw in second chapter, whenever we read a philosophy, go back to those 18 verses and see where in Sthita Prajna Lakshana, Bhagavan is pointing out the benefits of Akartrutva. Where in Sthita Prajna Lakshana, he is pointing out the expression of Abhokta. I'll mention a few, but you can do mananam on your own also. Look at the 71st verse in second chapter. What does Bhagavan say? Vihaya kamanyas sarvan puman charati nispruhah nirmamo nirahankarah sashantimadhigacchati. Now, two words are important. Nirmamaha, nirahankarah. What is he referring to there? Akartrutva or abhoktrutva? Nirmama means one who is not possessive. Nirahankara means one who doesn't keep on saying I. So which of these two are referred? Akartrutva. So nirmamaha means akarta. Nirahankaraha, akarta. So if somebody really gets clarity in akartrutva, what is the blessing in their life? Saha shantim adhigacchati. They'll be peaceful in life. And this also we have to note carefully. Wherever our kartrutva increases, direct result of that increased kartrutva is agitation. Put it other way also. Whenever we notice agitation, if we look deep within, there will be kartrutva sitting there. So this is the practical side of it. Akartrutva brings shanti. Then look at the 56th verse, second chapter. Dukkheshvanudvigna manaha sukeshu vigataspruhah वीतराग भय क्रोधः स्थितधीर मुनिरुच्यते. When dukkham comes, his mind doesn't get agitated. Dukkheshu anudvigna manaha. And when joy comes, sukheshu vigata spruha. He doesn't have this craving that may this favorable situation, favorable condition, circumstance remain with me forever. Sorrow doesn't disturb him. Joy doesn't excite him. What is this referring to? Abhoktrutva. See, dukkham coming is bhoga. Dukkham is also bhoga, not only sukham. Dukkham and sukham, both are bhogas. But because he has understood I am abhokta, that is why his mind is sthitadhihi. Mind is filled with that knowledge and it is equanimous. So what is the practical benefit of abhoktrutva? Equanimity in life. See, when we read Sthita Prajna Lakshana, one thing to note is the cause for these expressions of peace, of equanimity is knowledge. That was Arjuna's question, right? One in whom prajna has become sthira. That person is called as sthita prajna. Prajna means knowledge. How does that knowledge express? Because you might find equanimity even in a person who doesn't study Vedanta. You might find peace in life of a person who has no clue of Vedanta. But that cannot be called as absolute peace. Because some trigger might be there which might disturb such a person. Remaining verses you can look up on your own whenever you see any siddhanta in Bhagavad Gita. We can go back to those 18 verses and see where it is reflected. Sthita Prajna Lakshana. Now Bhagavan mentions another facet of this knowledge, deeper understanding of Atma. 30th verse you see. Yada bhuta prutak bhavam ekasthamanu pashyati tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada. Yada bhuta prutak bhavam ekasthamanu pashyati tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada. Yada anupashyati. Whenever anu word is added, it means after something. So pashyati means he sees. Anupashyati means after hearing from scriptures. After hearing from Guru and Shastra, this is how he sees now. Two steps are given. He sees the truth in two ways. If you want to understand the two ways, first we have to look at an example. There is gold, and from gold there are different ornaments which are made. So when a person is seeing ornaments, they might have different names and forms. Bangle, necklace, earring, so on. If he is able to understand all these ornaments are rooted in one. All these ornaments are rooted in one gold. That is his clarity of knowledge about gold. Clarity of knowledge about ornament and gold. This is one part. All ornaments are rooted in one gold. There is a second facet to it. Gold alone has become all ornaments. Any number of ornaments you create, give it whatever name and form you want. It's a manifestation in a specific name and form of that gold alone. Both of them are important. If you get this example, then what is said in this verse will be very clear. What is the first one? Whatever ornaments are seen, they are rooted in gold. Look at the first statement. Yada bhuta prutak bhavam ekastham anupashyati. Bhuta prutak bhavam means the variety of 5 elements. 5 elements and the variety which can come through their combination. The world of names and forms, they are like different ornaments. Where are they rooted? In Purusha, in consciousness. So right vision is being able to see this. He might see variety of names and forms, but he has clarity that these are all rooted in the self. Then what was the second part? Gold alone has become all ornaments. Any ornament you see is a manifestation of gold in a specific name and form. Read the second line. Tatah evacha vistaram. Tatah evacha means of this consciousness alone, this world is vistara. Vistara means manifestation. Consciousness alone appears as different names and forms. Can I ask you a quiz question based on this? What was the first statement Bhagwan made? Look upon this whole creation as rooted in me. Which chapter of Bhagavad Gita has its title as this concept? Whole in one. Vishwarupa Darshana. Vishwarupa Darshana. What is the main essence there? See this Vishwa in that Atma. And to see this, physical eyes will not work. Therefore, Arjuna has to be given Divya Chakshu. So all appearing in one is Vishwarupa Darshana. One alone appearing as all. Now this should be simple. Vibhuti Yoga. Vibhuti Yoga. These two concepts, if we appreciate, we'll enjoy those chapters even more. What does Bhagwan really want us to take away? He is describing Vishwarupa, but it is not to describe Vishwa. Vishwarupa is to bring our attention to this point that Vishwa is appearing in the Lord. And the same Lord appears in this entire creation, which is his Vibhuti. So Vishwarupa and Vibhuti Yoga. Now, if this understanding settles in a person's mind, what are the practical benefits of this? For this, we will have to go to Ishavasya Upanishad. You can also go to Sthita Prajna Lakshana, but Ishavasya has more precise indicator. Two verses were there. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyevanupashyati. One who sees all beings in the self. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani eva anupashyati. What is the result? Sarva bhuteshu chatmanam tato na vijugupsate. One who sees all beings in the self and the self as all beings, practical result or benefit of this is he doesn't have jealousy towards anybody. There is no vijugupsa. Another meaning of vijugupsa is he doesn't get turned off by the world. Because where is his understanding of I? In Purusha, in consciousness. And this conditioning belongs to Prakriti. Purusha expresses through Prakriti. Just like Purusha expresses through one aspect of Prakriti, he says same Purusha expresses through all aspects of Prakriti. See, what is jealousy? Something that I wanted to do, if somebody else got to do, I will feel jealous of that person. This is applied Vedanta. If a person is able to abide in this knowledge, he says whether this conditioning does it or the other conditioning does it, I have nothing to gain or lose. And whenever mind gets disappointed, and when we are calm, we have to do this vichara. Let's say some gathering is going on, social gathering at somebody's home. Everybody is invited except you. How should a Vedanti think? I am the substratum of this gathering. I illumine this gathering. Or if you want to look at it from conditioning standpoint, anybody going there is me going there. Why should I think only if this conditioning goes there, then I'll be happy? Very practical point is mentioned, Ishavasya, tato na vijugupsate. And whenever we get turned off from anything, very likely it is something of this Prakriti we have held on to very closely. Remember, our mind belongs to which category? Prakriti or Purusha? Prakriti. Intellect belongs to which category? Prakriti. Where are our opinions rooted? In mind and intellect, which belongs to Prakriti. So wherever we get turned off with something, say something of this Prakriti, could be an opinion we are holding on to very strongly. Tataha na vijugupsate. Then the next mantra said, Tatra ko mohaha kashokaha. Ekatvam anupashyati. Where is sorrow for that person? Where is delusion for that person who abides in the self? That was also mentioned. Now there are just a few more verses. Next session will wrap it up, this text, this chapter. It was a long chapter, so we'll try to recap also. Just summarize in the next session. If you want, you can go through it before the class. Just chant the chapter. If you have made notes, something will keep coming back. On top of that, when you recap, it's a great joy. Because I think today is our 22nd class, which means almost 1 year we have spent on 13th chapter. So do revise the previous portion. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om.